I'm very fucking disappointed. I woke up to bullshit. Only in Canada, dude. It was literally like sunny yesterday. Look at this right here, man. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck is going on, man? What is up, people? Welcome back to a brand new rant video, and today we're going to be talking about the Dan Schneider situation. Now, if you've been born between 1990 and 2006, and you've watched Nickelodeon for my American viewers and YTV for my Canadian viewers, then you guys know who Dan Schneider is. He's responsible for the shows iCarly, Victorious, that Amanda show. I think even Drake and Josh. I'm not too sure about that, but he's been responsible for a lot of shows that aired on Nickelodeon in the 90s and 2000s, and also the 2010s, around that time pretty much. Now Dan Schneider, he's been accused of being verbally abusive towards his employees, notably his cast members.
Stop laughing at the director. Show some respect, Jeanette. Respect. No smiling. All right. Take $100 off her check.
I know that he was trying to be the sarcastic boss or whatever, but like right then and there, you can tell that, all these castmates, from Jeanette McCurdy to Nathan to Miranda Cosgrove, you can all tell that they're all uncomfortable with these fucking half-ass jokes, and he sounds extremely condescending. They all look like they want to kill him. The accusations started around 2017 to early 2018-ish, and he hasn't been a part of Nickelodeon since March 2018, if I recall. And the reason why Dan Schneider has been, in controversy for the past 5 to 6 years is yes, of course, how he treated his employees, and also the types of jokes he would write, and they would still air on television.
Trina? I'm not gonna. Why should
This ain't it, Chief! Now there's been this documentary that came out called Quiet on Set. Quiet on Set is like a documentary series. So far, there's only like 4 episodes that came out, I think. It talks about what, cast members, actors, writers had to deal with on the set of those Nickelodeon shows. It pretty much showcases the dark side of Nickelodeon. And there's been one episode that's been specifically about Dan Schneider. And that's the only episode that I've watched for now. I'm gonna watch other episodes. I don't know if I'm gonna make other videos on the other episodes, but I wanted to talk about this specific case because I grew up on Dan Schneider shows, and I've always knew that he's been kind of weird and a bit creepy because of the jokes and whatever I said. Oh yeah, don't forget that Dan Schneider is also a man who likes feet. I mean, he literally exposed that in his Twitter page and on his TV shows. It's absolutely weird, disturbing, and repulsive.
Wake up, wake up. Sam.
Ugh. Brother, ugh. What's that?
There's even been allegations of him, grooming and doing bad stuff to kids. Notably, Amanda Bynes, who said that she had an abortion by 13, and that she alleges that Dan Schneider had something to do with that. And recently, there's been new stuff that's been come out to like, we already know about the verbal, and we knew about the creepy moments that Dan Schneider had with his employees and the female teen cast members, but we don't know about the 2 writers that came on the documentary and said that they had to share a salary or whatever the case may be. He also asked the 2 writers to massage him in the writing room, and he was always putting the employees in an awkward situation. And recently he came out with a response, so yeah, we're gonna look into that, of course.
Hey, it's Boogie. I played T-Bo on Nickelodeon's iCarly. I got a chance to watch the Quiet on Set program, and I reached out to Dan to see if it was something that he'd be willing to discuss.
I know that he said that he reached out to Dan Schneider to conduct this interview, but with how the interview is going to go and with how Dan's response is very calculated or whatever the case may be, you're gonna see from this interview anyway. This dude is probably, the only guy that had no bad blood with Dan Schneider, and Dan Schneider was probably like, there's been this new documentary about me that just came out, and I want you to conduct this interview so that I can save my ass and make the people love me again. Hey, dog, we haven't really spoken in like 11 years. You're gonna do this interview, you fucking nigga.
Dan, how are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay.
God damn, time has not been good to Mr. Dan Schneider over here. He looks like a Discord mod and a Subway manager that's been in Subway for like 45 years at the same time. You can already tell by that beard he's guilty.
Now we have some adults looking back at them 20 years later through their lens, and they're looking at them and they're saying, oh yeah, I don't think that's appropriate for a kid's show. And I have no problem with that. If that's how anyone feels, let's cut those jokes out of the show. Just like I would have done 20 years ago or 25 years ago. I cut it. I want my shows to be popular. I want everyone to like it. The more people who like the shows, the happier I am.
Yeah, I don't buy that. I don't buy that for a second. He's talking about, oh, if we're rerunning the show or whatever, we're just going to cut the jokes out. But the problem is you wrote those jokes. You thought that it was okay, and you still decided to air it out. And matter of fact, on the Amanda Bynes show, there's this one character called Penelope Taint. Now, what is a taint, you ask? Yeah. And that wasn't a joke. That was a whole character.
Two former writers of yours, two women, who spoke about a wage discrepancy. Now, I know that you don't divvy out salaries. Talk to me about that part.
Well, you're correct. I have nothing to do with paying writers. I never have. I've never made a writer's deal. And of all the writers I've been in a writer's room with, I never even knew how much most of them were getting paid.
Yeah, but we saw these two women who were writers for you sharing one salary. How does that happen?
It's very simple. There's a common practice in television when hiring writers. If you have a spot for a new writer, sometimes you'll go to two writers and say, hey, if you two new writers for your first job are willing to share a salary, you can both have the job.
He's talking about, one subject that the two women brought up, but he didn't talk about how he made them say hammers or like I'm a slut or degrading things like that, or that he told one writer that he was going to pay her like $300 to eat a pint of ice cream, and I think he didn't do it at the end. Yeah, pretty much stuff like that. He didn't address all the things that he would do because he wanted to manipulate and he wanted to answer to the questions that he wanted to answer. But like the rest of the things that the women brought up in the documentary, he didn't say anything about it. He just denied, I guess, the allegation. He seemed apologetic in his response, but again, it's a manipulation tactic. Dan Schneider is an evil man.